চলার পথে ইএসএ ব্লগিং এ আপনাদের সবাইকে স্বাগতম। কেমন আছেন আপনারা? আজ আমরা শিকাগোর যে বিখ্যাত বোটানিক্যাল গার্ডেন আছে সেখানে এসেছি এবং এই বোটানিক্যাল গার্ডেনটা অনেক বড়। আসলে পায়ে হেঁটে ঘুরে দেখতে অনেক সময় লাগে। তো আজকে আমরা সেই বোটানিক্যাল গার্ডেনটি, এখানকার যে একটি রাইড আছে, কার রাইড, তো সেই কার রাইডের মাধ্যমে দেখব এবং সেখানকার যে ইনস্ট্রাক্টর আছে উনি আমাদের এই বোটানিক্যাল গার্ডেনের টোটাল কোথায় কি আছে এবং গাছগুলো কোথা থেকে সংগ্রহ করা হয়েছে এবং এই জায়গাটি সম্বন্ধে আরও বিস্তারিত বলবে। তো আশা রাখি আপনাদের সবারই ভালো লাগবে। তো চলুন শুরু করি আজকের আরেকটি নতুন ব্লগ। আমরা এই গাড়িতে করে এখন হচ্ছে ট্যুর করব। চলুন, এই গাড়ি রইল এই অবস্থা, এই অবস্থা। চেষ্টা করে দেখি আর কি দুই সাইডেই যাওয়া যায় কিনা।
Narrator and tour guide for today. Now before we begin, just gotta go over our safety rules because it is our number one priority. We all must stay seated for the entire tour today, and we can't have any body parts sticking outside of the tram. I do have all these mirrors up here in front, so if I see anybody's body parts sticking out, I will have to ask you guys to pull them inside. And I'm also going to be stopping at 3 drop-off points throughout the tour today, where I'll be stopping for just a few seconds, and anybody who would like to can feel free to deboard the tram and end the tour early and explore that area of the garden. Just do know, we are going to take off without you. You will be responsible for getting yourself back here to the Regenstein. Although the next tour will be by that area within the next 30 minutes. If there's any open seats available on it, feel free to hop on and make your way back here. And if you have a phone on you today, be sure to silence it. And if you would like to talk to your friends and family during the tour, you can go ahead, feel free. Just please use an inside voice.
Inside voice like this. I'm talking like this.
If anybody on board today has any kind of emergency, say if you drop a personal belonging of yours off the tram while it's moving, please do not jump off. You can simply shout my name, Michael, and wave your arms. Once I notice you, I'll safely pull over the tram and help you guys out with whatever it is that you need. But I do expect a very smooth and nice relaxing trip here today. We are all set now to begin the tour, everybody. And as we do so, we are now passing by the Motto Railroad Garden there to your right. That 7,500 square foot garden features 18 G-scale trains that are traversing around 50 of the most famous landmarks all around America. Over there, you're going to find trains passing around the Statue of Liberty, the White House, the Grand Canyon, Mount Rushmore, the Space Needle in Seattle, the Hollywood sign in Los Angeles, Lombard Street in San Francisco, Yosemite National Park in Wyoming, Mount St. Helens, which actually erupts every 20 minutes. That sound that you'll hear once it does inside the railroad garden is an actual recording of Mount St. Helens erupting a long time ago. And Wrigley Field is also over there. If you take a look there now to your left, we are passing by Spider Island. We're going to pass by that again at the end of the tour. You might hear those bells now. That bell tower, everybody's on Evening Island. We're going to pass by that at the end of the tour as well. So more on that later. In the meantime, pretty soon here on our right, we are going to be passing by one of the first plantings that we ever put down here, the year that the garden opened, back in 1972. Here on your right, everybody, is a group of buckeye trees. These buckeyes get their name from the special nut that they have. Some say that it looks like the eye of a male deer. Also known, of course, as a buck, hence the name Buckeye. The state tree of Ohio there to your right. And we'll be passing by the state tree of Illinois later on in the tour, which I'll be sure to point out. But now pretty soon here on our right, we are going to be passing by the aquatic garden, which is that boardwalk out there in the lake. Through the trees you can spot some of the lily pads and water lotuses that are growing inside the lake there. The next garden that we're going to be passing by here is called the Fruit and Vegetable Garden. Here to your right, that nearly 4-acre island opened back in 1985, and it's one of the largest edible landscapes in the entire Midwest. Over there, we produce several thousand pounds of food every year. And located on the Fruit and Vegetable Garden is a nice apple orchard. A beautiful spot that you can feel free to visit. I'll be sure to point it out for you guys once we get a better view of it up ahead.
Many different kind of apple trees.
And I know some of you guys might be thinking,
Do you remember we've been apple picking?
what happens to all of the food that you guys grow over at the Fruit and Vegetable Garden?
Not here today.
Well, the folks over at the Windy City Harvest Youth Program harvest produce weekly and distribute that to community partners. And you can even find some of the food that we grow inside our cafe, which is located inside the visitor center. We'll pass by that later on as well. You can get a nice view of this body of water here on your right.
Forget about your
That is called the North Lake, everybody, and restoration for all of our lakes and shorelines began over 20 years ago. But if you visited us here just a decade ago, you would have seen that entire lake system completely empty. It's because it was drained of 54 million gallons of water. And after moving all of those fishes to our other lakes and planting about 120,000 water-loving plants, we moved up the shorelines and restoration was complete. The North Lake is one of the 4 natural areas that we have here at the garden, and we'll be passing by another one of those 4 later on in the tour. But right now, here on your right-hand side, this open field that we are passing by is called the Oak Tree Meadow, and it's called that, of course, because of these 2 beautiful oak trees that we'll be passing by here on your right. And the oak tree is the state tree of Illinois, everybody, our home state.
State tree or not?
And as we pass by the state tree of Illinois there to your right, you can keep looking out there just across the water and you'll get a pretty good look at the apple orchard located on the Fruit and Vegetable Garden. There, just next to the shoreline, that is the apple orchard, where there's a nice trail leading you throughout the orchard itself, benches scattered all around, where you can sit down and take in a nice view of the lakefront there. And now I think it goes without saying, we have a lot of trees here at the garden. I'm going to point some out for you guys here along this stretch of the road. Coming up on your left are a group of white spire birch trees. You can spot that white bark. It's a very popular tree family here at the garden. We're going to pass by some more of those at the end of the tour. And coming up on our right, a group of trees, 3 of them to be exact. Pretty easy to spot because they're standing in almost a triangle there to your right. Those 3 are Serbian spruce trees, and they can grow up to be over 150 feet tall.
Oh my god.
Native of Serbia, of course. And the next tree that I'd like to will be coming up here on your right, the tallest tree here next to the street. This is a weeping willow tree, everybody, and it's a part of our most significant plant collection here at the garden. We have over 170 different kinds scattered all around the garden. So we're going to be passing by a lot more of those as we make our way through the rest of the tour today. As we continue to spot more weeping willows, you might notice that each of them are placed either near a lake or a shoreline. It's because they love water, and of our 385 acres, roughly 1/4 of that is water, luckily for the willow trees. We'll be passing by a weeping willow right now here on either side of us as we pass over this bridge. And as we pass over that bridge, we have now just arrived at the Regenstein Learning Campus, which happens to be our first drop-off spot for anybody on board today who would like to visit the Butterflies and Blooms attraction, which we'll be passing by here very soon on our left. The Butterflies and Blooms is included with your membership or admission, just like how the tram is. So inside there you will find butterflies flying around from all different countries.